is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon!
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach of Oregon.
Catch made! Touchdown, Oregon!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
81 points on Saturday. Football season is here, and it kicked off in a big-time way. 7 rushing touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns, 11 total touchdowns, 81 points on the board, and 546 push-ups for this guy. I saw this bobblehead sitting around studio when I walked in today. It was actually on Alex Stimson's desk. Sorry, Alex, I'll return it in one piece, but I thought it was fitting for the show today because, if you've been following along on social media after the game, the Duck has still been doing push-ups over at Autzen Stadium, and I'm not sure it has ever stopped. A whole lot of positivity coming out of Saturday's 81-7 victory over the Portland State Vikings. A whole lot happened. I would be here until the end of the show. I'd be past the 1 o'clock hour. So let's watch a recap video how it happened on the weekend that kicked off the 2023 season in style.
It's Oregon, your Ducks, hosting Portland State of the Vikings football season. The games are finally here. Here come your Ducks. The build-up was almost a little too much. Ducks and the Vikings, Autzen, 2023 season ready to roll.
You know what it is. Everything I do, I do it big.
Irving takes off, and he's free. Touchdown, Bucky Irving.
What's your finish? What's your effort? Our foot's on the gas all day.
He's gone. He's gone. See you later. Touchdown, Franklin. Touchdown, Ducks. 81-7. Holy cow.
I love that. I love the energy at Autzen Stadium on Saturday, and I loved the look that the Go Ducks team got us from inside of the locker room. Dan Lanning talking to his team. Coach Lanning, he also talked to the media postgame. All head coaching interviews brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a Duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Here is what I would describe as a pretty happy Dan Lanning after an 81-7 Week 1 victory.
All right. Here the Ducks still doing push-ups. But, no, it was a good day out there today. Got to see us execute at a high level. You know, that's the expectation for us. We talked about it's a standard. That's how we'll measure ourselves, is based on the standard, not necessarily on the scoreboard. Certainly some things that we can clean up and things that we can improve on. But overall was, glad to see Autzen bouncing today. Had great energy from the crowd. Got a lot of players, some experience that's going to be definitely needed throughout the season.
Coach, only a couple penalties today. How do you feel operationally you guys look today?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at a few things, but ultimately we talked about not having any pre-snap, any post-snap penalties in this game. I thought there was one that was really poor on our part. Some aggressive penalties might happen in between the whistles, but ultimately I thought the operational piece was pretty smooth.
In general, Dan, how do you feel like your team got better today when there's a lot of questions about the future of FCS games? You're joining a conference where you can't play as many of these How did you feel like your team got better by playing this game today? We're
getting to play another team that we can go out there and tackle, break blocks, or make blocks and get off blocks. I think anytime you get a chance to play football against somebody else, it gives you an opportunity to improve. And again, we talked about we aren't really measuring our standard based on the scoreboard. We're measuring it based on our standard, right? And I think at times you saw a team that met that standard. I think that we're going to go back and look at the film and see some things that we could definitely do better. So any day that you get to play football is a good day for us.
Quarterbacks finished 33 of 38, no interceptions. Just your first assessments on the signal callers and how they handled things today.
Yeah, when you operate with efficiency and you take care of the ball, I think obviously good things can happen, right? We did a good job taking care of the ball today. I thought we called plays that allowed us to get completions, right? And a lot of times you can let the wideouts and the tight ends and the backs do things with the ball after they get it. So when we're operating at a high level from that standpoint, you're going to see success on offense.
Middle right.
Bryce Betcher gets the start today. And comes up with that fumble recovery there too. What did he do during fall camp to kind of earn that's playing time today? And what did you make of his game?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the film to see exactly how he performed in the game. But Bryce has been really productive through our fall scrimmages, through our practices. He's a guy that loves Oregon. It means a little bit to him stepping on that field. I think you see that in the way that he plays, right? So he's earned that right. He's earned that opportunity, but he knows he has to battle for it every day.
Defense allowed that long touchdown drive early in the first quarter, but after that, pitched a shutout. What did you see from them bouncing back from that and, their game as a whole?
Yeah, we had 2 critical errors in that drive and then a really bad execution in the red area on that last touchdown. But ultimately, I think what you saw is when you don't do your job, bad things can happen. We had a couple guys not do their job early in that series. It led to a long drive, and I think we all settled down after that and realized, hey, all I got to do is my part, my 1/11th, and the rest will take care of itself.
You started at center with Jackson. Curious on what you thought there, but then just the offensive line as a whole, because a lot of new players and new spots.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch the film. I mean, obviously we were able to run the ball well today. I'm more concerned about how we were finishing on every play. Were we chasing the ball? What's the finish look like? Were we getting movement the way we need to get it up front? But overall, I thought you saw a lot of guys out there go out and play at a high level.
Aaron Sunny, the white record.
Zach, still my question about just the defense and how they started, but I know the offense has been kind of challenged by the defense during fall camp. So when they came out today, is that the offense that you feel like you've seen in those scrimmages? And how has your defense really sharpened your offense to come out and have a performance like they did today?
Yeah, they both play off of each other, right? Iron sharpens iron in practice. I think we've certainly had some good back and forth in fall camp. But I think everybody in that locker room right now knows that they're not satisfied with the result, and there's some places that we can be better. I expect us to operate with that sort of efficiency throughout the year, but I also know that we're going to play some teams that are going to make it difficult for us to operate that way in the future. So we got to work to keep challenging ourselves and making sure that our standard is the secret to our success.
Marion Winston was another player that some of us outside the program were maybe surprised to see him start. Just would you see him through fall camp to have him warrant that start and just your early impressions?
Yeah, playmaker that's smart and understands his role and takes his job really serious, does the extra work. He's done a lot this offseason. I don't think anybody in our program was surprised to see him out on the field for us because of the way that he works every single day in practice.
We saw Noah Whittington warm up, but he did not get in the game as a reason he was held out.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about anybody that didn't play today. But Noah's done everything right for us. He's done a good job. We're just going to be smart with our players.
When you have an opponent next week who's, I believe, playing here in about 15, 20 minutes, what are the plans, not just for yourself, but the team? Are you hoping that everybody just sticks around here and watches your opponent for next week? Right?
I want our team to get off their feet. We're going to be able to decimate and break through that information for them so they can be able to get it. I certainly want to be able to sit down and watch this game and get an idea of what we're about to face. I know it's a really good team. I know they have a quarterback that when he starts, they win, right? And I know they're really good at home. So it's going to be a really tough challenge going there to Lubbock in a good environment. I know they're coming off a road game when they come back, so I'm excited to sit down and be able to evaluate it. We'll start breaking them down as soon as we can.
Look like close to 24 players making their college debuts today, true freshmen. I know you're going to tell me you have to watch the film to assess, but just what did you see through fall where that was a possibility for you to play so many of them?
Well, what I did see today and what I did see in the fall is a group that wants to compete. And they understood that if they step on the field, they're viewed no different than a starter, right? There's a standard of excellence that we expect. And I think a lot of guys tried to perform to that level. And the only way you're going to get better at football is playing, right? So some of those guys get out there getting that early experience. Those are going to be guys we're relying on later on in the season. Some of those guys will be relying on every single game. So it's good for them to get, some early opportunities out there in the field, and we'll see what they do with it going forward.
Gary Bryant had 100 yards in his debut. Tez Johnson did a good job returning punts, had a couple catches. What do you make of those two guys? Again, you got to watch the film, but just from what you saw today.
Yeah, I think they caught the ball well. Ultimately, part of what makes it work for the quarterback is when guys have the ball thrown their way, they catch it, right? And we had some guys that caught the ball well, and when they got the ball in their hands, they were able to create some yards after catch. I don't think you'll go out there and say any of those throws or routes that we were asking these guys to run today were remarkably tough. It was about doing the simple things better. Those guys did simple better today. A punt return with Tez, he fielded the ball. That's kind of our expectation. He had one that was a little bit close there that probably could have thought twice about fielding, but I'm glad that he was able to get some additional yards.
Back row in the middle.
Coach, it seemed like first half was a little tough for the the nose tackles up front for the running game on PSU's side. It was like over 100 yards in the first half. Did you see anything that was a concern, or was that just kind of defense taking a while to get into it a little bit today?
You're talking about our defense?
Yeah, sorry, your defense.
Yeah, ultimately, there was one series that they had success moving the ball down the field, with relative success. And again, it was two guys not doing their job. It wasn't necessarily the nose tackle or the defensive tackle, but there's some guys that didn't do their job at the highest level, and it cost us.
Stay in the back of that.
Ty Thompson looked pretty good, and when he came in for Bo, was that just a sign of what he's looked like all fall camp and just his growth from last season?
I think that's a sign of what Ty's capable of, right? Ty performed exactly how we expect him to perform today, right? Did a really good job. Like I said, I think he started his first drive off 3 for 3, was really efficient, and had made some tough runs, played with some toughness. A quarterback that you love to see, and I think he proved to everyone that he can operate in this offense really well.
I know you said you don't judge yourself by the scoreboard, but 81 points is a modern era scoring record. Do you take pride in that at all?
Not really. I'm not concerned. We won the game. I'm glad we won the game. I'm not really, in for stats, right? I'm in for W's, right, and wins. And, wins for us come based on performance. I want to go back and evaluate the film and see where we could perform better, right? That's what we really want to evaluate. It's not about, we're not interested in winning who had the best scoring offense last year, scoring defense. We're interested in winning games. That's our objective.
We haven't even asked you about Bo yet. This was his first game in a new offense. Not exactly a surprise that he has command of it, but 23 of 27. How do you feel he performed? Did he feel like even any of the incompletions were remotely in jeopardy? Just how do you feel like he commanded things with Will's offense?
Yeah, ultimately, I thought he did a good job taking care of the ball. I don't think we connected maybe on some of our deeper shots today like we have in the past. So I think we got to get in a rhythm there. But overall, Bo ran the offense well. Got to a third down there early in the game where it could have kind of been a back and forth, and was able to convert on a third. But yeah, I think that there's some moments there, but that Bo did everything we expect him to do. Our challenge is what's going to look like when we play a team that matches up well with us, and I think we're going to see some of those coming forward.
Obviously, you haven't seen the kicks charted or anything, but Camden had several touchbacks. I believe it was one punt, a good one. How do you feel generally about the performance of the special teams today?
Yeah, I thought our first kick wasn't great, and we had a couple field location issues on some of our kickoffs. Cam did a really good job in field goal. I want to see us continue to improve in the areas of our locations and where we get the ball kicked, moving forward. The one punt that we had, I thought Ross hit a great kick. I think we had to get better coverage on that unit on that. We had Bullets that did a good job getting down the field, but I want to see the rest of the punt unit get down the field better.
Kind of a bit of a retooled secondary, a lot of new faces out there. And I'm just curious on kind of how you saw them gel and maybe combinations. You don't have to get into specifics, but did you see stuff that you really liked in terms of how they fit together?
Yeah, and I don't know if they really got tested today, right? They did a good job communicating. I thought you saw a good communication from those guys, but I don't know that they ever had an opportunity where they really got tested. So I think, that's still set to come, right? We're not interested in reading the press clippings of this game. It's about the future, and we have some good players out there, but we have to be able to execute at a high level moving forward. And again, we're going to play some really good teams moving forward.
I think 260 in yards after catch for your receivers. Just your thoughts on their explosiveness, their playmaking ability, and what they can bring this season for you guys?
Yeah, I think that's something that's really important. It's something we've kind of been stressing since our first scrimmage, that we want to be, an area of strength. And I thought you saw some of that today. So that'll be something we have to continue to work on.
Take two more, Aaron.
I know you said last season was last season and it doesn't matter now, but after your first game of last season, I imagine you feel pretty different than how you feel now going into this season. Just now with your full signing class in 2023, everyone's under you, second year of the Dan Lanning era. Just how much do you feel like you've grown as a head coach going into year 2 under the program?
The verdict's still out. We got a lot of games to play, right? There's still a lot of time and certainly a lot of room for me to continue to get better and our program to get a lot better. So we'll wait to vote on that until the season's over with.
Last question, James.
Dan, you guys are in a really unique position when it comes to next week, and that you're playing a former starter. All right, it wasn't under this staff, but you guys have a lot of proprietary information beyond just game film, things like RPMs and all the stuff that you can measure from practice.
RPMs
of passing, from the various different metrics from Shuck, from those.
I don't know what you mean.
How fast the ball releases.
I don't know. We measure that at practice.
Well, Nate Costa used to. They used
I got
to have
you.
things that did.
I'll have to call Nate.
File somewhere. Someone's got it.
I haven't looked at how fast he throws the ball, but you know what? I know this. He's a winner. I'll let you ask the rest of your question, or if there is a question.
That's the point. That how much does any of those things help? But if you don't even know they exist, clearly not a lot just yet.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I know. He's a good quarterback. They play really well when he's in the game. I think he has complete control. He has the ability to make checks at the line of scrimmage. They're going to play a different brand of football where they actually get the ball out on the perimeter, and they have some talent at wideout that they can take advantage of, but they also will hop into 12 and 11 personnel. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of team they look like this year. They've got a lot of their parts back. I don't know what the RPMs are, but I know he plays quarterback well. So, all right, appreciate you guys.
That's Coach Dan Lanning after the 81-7 victory over Portland State on Saturday. When we come back after this timeout, QB1, Bo Nix, coming up on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Ryan Milano in the Country Financial Studio. We just heard from the coach, Dan Lanning, after an 81-7 victory. Now it's time for QB1. Bo Nix played the entire first half and just one drive of the second half. Threw for 3 touchdowns, only 4 incompletions. Pretty strong week 1 for the starting quarterback. Let's hear from Bo Nix.
I thought we did a good job. I thought we went out and executed what we were supposed to do. Scored a lot of points. We were consistent. We didn't make many mistakes, didn't beat ourselves, so I thought it was a very clean game.
Obviously, 81 points isn't going to happen every week, but you feel like this is a clear indication of what your offense can be like and how explosive they can be?
Yeah, I think when we just do what we're supposed to do what we're coached to do, go out and execute, I think that's what we can do. Obviously, situation changes and stuff like that, but obviously when you go out there and do your best and play the best you can play, things like that can happen.
Well, on those 2 long runs by Bucky, on that second one anyways, it looked like you were the only one in position that might be able to track him down. What are your thoughts on the game he had in those 2 big rounds and how that sets him up for the season?
Well, he plays really good. He's a very good, consistent running back. He's explosive. He does stuff like that all the time. Mainly on those 2, I just wanted to show that I was faster than he was and get my GPS number higher so I can rub it in. But he does a good job. I mean, he's one of the best running backs in the country. He proved it today, and he's going to just continue to have a good year.
I think it was 81 points is a modern era scoring record for this team. Is that something you take pride in doing today?
Yeah, I think that's special. For this offense, for this group, it means a lot to us, and that's our goal each game. It's definitely something that means a lot to us.
I think it was 6 total touchdowns between all the running backs that played today. How much pressure does that take off of your shoulders when you got a running back room that can score at that level?
Yeah, I mean, they just they weren't going down. They were running to score. They were running violently. They did a really good job. That room's going to be special. Got to continue to get better. So we can continue to do things like that. But overall, very pleased with that group, and thought they had a really good game.
First game, and obviously there's a lot more to be played, but your thoughts on the offensive line and just the job that they've done protecting you. There's a lot of questions outside the program, just how good they could be for you guys with so many new starters.
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job tonight. Kept the pocket clean, kept everybody, up and running. We were able to run the ball, and that's always positive. And then, we did a good job in protections in the pass game. And those guys, a lot of them have actually played a lot. They're just starting to mesh together, and I think the more we play, the better they're going to get.
The wide receiving room seems a lot more stacked this year. Do you feel more confident, or is it just kind of coming back next year from last year? It's like Franklin to you. Is there just a confidence, or is there something extra with the players this year that you've added?
Well, I think that's just another really solid group that we have. They're special. They can make explosive plays. Obviously with Troy being the veteran guy that was here last year, he does a lot for that room, and he performed well tonight. And so we count on him to do that. And then the other guys around him, Gary had a great game being his first game. Trey, Sean, and Tez, they just very consistent. So, those guys will continue to get better, and then we'll have some guys step up as the year goes on, I'm sure. And then, they do their job, and they continue to impress and make big plays.
How do you feel about the performance of Ty Thompson today? He looked a lot more comfortable than we've seen him in the past. What do you think about him?
Well, I think that was just, that's Ty. I think when he got out there and had an opportunity, he made the most of it. And he hasn't always had the best situations, and today was a really good situation for him. I think he showed that, he can go out there and play with anybody. And, Ty's a great guy. He works hard. He does what he's supposed to do. It means a lot to him. He cares a lot. And, I think that if situations were different, he'd be a great quarterback.
As a player who has a lot of experience, you had a lot of freshmen play today. Just how crucial is that experience going to be as you guys go throughout the season and as you leave the program and move on, for them to have that experience that they got today?
It's always good for freshmen to play. It's always good to get guys that don't typically play a lot, don't necessarily have a role maybe with the ones, but those guys that can come off the bench and play really good and provide some depth for us. I think the more you can get those guys in, the better that our team's going to be.
The biggest question, what were your thoughts on the Ducks' performance today?
Overall, I mean, we played very clean. We stopped them on defense. We did really good in special teams. I thought we handled field position really well. We controlled the ball on offense. We moved it. We had a lot of explosive plays. We played clean. We didn't have a lot of penalties, and overall we did what we were supposed to do. And in a game like that, that's what we wanted. We wanted to come out and really get going and start fast because we got a tough schedule, and we want to be sure that we go ahead and put a lot together and have a lot of experience on the front end.
So I meant the mascot actually, but
Yeah, how many push-ups did he end up doing?
546.
Well, he probably got to doing half push-ups at the end, probably. That's a lot of push-ups. I wouldn't be doing 500 and something push-ups. So props to him. And I guess that's the only negative in a day like today.
Are there more pop passes today than at times? I mean, you guys did them a little bit last season, but it seemed like there were a couple that hit some pretty big gains today. Is that just part of the plan, or is that by happenstance? Or?
Yeah, I think that just happens. We wanted to get the ball on the perimeter, quickly in the guy's hands so that we could, block on the perimeter and get some easy yards. And, those are just hit and run plays. If they don't want to, have leverage or numbers over there on one side, we'll throw it over there. And it helps the run game a lot. It gets those guys spread out so we can hit some creases inside.
You talked about special teams. How big was that fumble recovery by Bryce Fletcher to be able for him to do that, in his home state as well?
Yeah, it was huge. Bryce is a guy that does a really good job when his number's called. It means a lot to him. He gives great effort all the time. And so that was a huge play. He got an explosive play, got a turnover on special teams, which is what one of our goals is we want to get special teams turnovers. We want to have good, field position, and that's a battle that we try to win. And so he did a really good job with that, and hopefully that'll carry over and we can get some more in the future.
Thanks, Bo.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
A very strong performance for Bo Nix on Saturday. His final line of the day, 23 for 27, 287 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's an 85% completion percentage. And for someone who led the country in that mark last season, starting with 85 is a pretty strong rebuttal to what he picked up from last year. And, well, 2 of the 3 touchdowns that he threw on Saturday's game, those were to wide receiver one from last season. Troy Franklin picking up right where the Ducks left off last year, the dynamic duo of 10 to 11, QB1 to wide receiver one. Troy Franklin, he found the end zone a couple of times early, and he talked to the media postgame. Here's wide receiver one.
1 points is a lot of points. School record for modern day football. Just how proud of you as a member of the offense that did that. Is that a stat you guys care about? Is that you take pride in that?
I mean, it was cool. I just think we're just focusing on execution. Obviously getting points on the board. We want to be a high-powered offense. Execution, getting things done, and just doing everything the right way. So, yeah, it's cool, though, definitely.
Talking offseason about adding all the new weapons to this offense. How did those guys sort of help you out and get you open today?
I think everybody did a good job. Everybody did their part, I think everybody just has their 111th, and when we do it, the outcome is that, so yeah.
260 in yards after catch for offensive players for you guys. How is that been the norm for you in fall camp? Dan mentioned that was something that they've really stressed to you guys.
He put a big emphasis on that, and that's what we've just been working on, all fall camp, spring ball, and things like that. So, yeah.
Was there a moment in the first half that you kind of felt things clicked today, or was it just coming in right back to like it was last season?
I think we definitely got off to a hot start. Got some touches in early, and then I'm in the flow of the game then. So yeah.
What do you make of Gary's performance? You had 100 yards. He also had 100 yards, and he didn't play a lot last season, just at USC, obviously. But just what do you make of his performance?
I was telling my guys today on the bench, he's back. I told him congratulations, he's back, type deal. So yeah.
How do you feel about this receiver room after today?
I like it a lot. I think everybody has has like a difference to them, and we just all fit together. I really like it a lot, though.
The pop passes in this offense, and I know you guys had a little bit last year, but I mean, you had a big gain on one today. I think there was a touchdown on another. When you have this deeper receiving core, what is that kind of play, that RPO action with Bo and that many weapons to throw to? Just what does that do for this offense?
I think it does a lot for us. Obviously, one, it keeps the defense true. They have to stay true to them. They can't really run exotic things, and then it just obviously helps us more, with getting open and things like that. So yeah.
50 points before the half. You guys obviously take the starters out before the end of the third quarter. How beneficial is that, just to be able to, go out there, get the job done, and then get rest ahead of time?
Yeah, it's beneficial because, one, we don't risk injury and things like that. And then also we get the young guys in so they can get looks and just a feel of the game and stuff like that, So, yeah, it's a win-win.
Your guy that came in with Ty in the same class, just he looked a lot more comfortable. But yeah. But just what did you think of just his performance today and just all of fall camp too?
I was happy when I seen him out there. Led him to a touchdown drive. Really didn't have any mistakes in May. So it was good to see for sure. I definitely like that.
Have you seen improvement from him? Seems like he's gotten better.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, definitely. You can see how comfortable he was out there. You see it. We all see it. So most definitely, he's improved a lot.
What did you make of Bo's day?
Bo, oh, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, Bo, I think he just does his job every day, when he comes in day out. His performance today, I think it was very good. I think he beats himself up a little bit because, he wants to just make sure everything's correct and things like that. But I tell him all the time he's doing good and it's all good. It's okay. So, I think his performance was very good today.
Seems like a lot different place you guys are this year than last year after your first game to Georgia, right? Just how has the team grown in their just second season under Dan Lanning? And what can teams expect from this Oregon team this season that may be different than last year?
I think just intensity, with Dan Lanning having us, for a second year, I think that just lets us know that he's going to really push us now and things like that. Maybe he was kind of holding back because he didn't really know everybody. He was just still trying to figure out the team. But now he's full throttle, and you can expect intensity, competition, and all that good stuff from the Oregon Ducks. So yeah.
Do you wear the grills after every game, every win? What's the strategy?
No, I just put them in. I bought them, so I just don't want to waste my money. But yeah, it's a kind of just a cool little thing. Yeah.
Shining after week one, the 81-7 victory included 11 touchdowns. It was a modern era scoring record, Autzen Stadium scoring record. Didn't quite get to the 114 points that the Oregon Webfoots set in 1914 against Puget Sound, but I guess 81 will do. A pretty solid weekend for Oregon football. Very strong weekend for Oregon volleyball and Oregon soccer, returning from a 4-game road set. A whole bunch going on in the athletic department over the weekend. We will talk with Oregon soccer head coach Graham Abel when we come back after this timeout on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Into the building for the first time after the shooting. It was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back in the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano joined with a guest, Graham Abel, on the show, Oregon soccer head coach. How are you back home? It was 2 weeks on the road. You're finally back in Eugene. How is it just to, be back? You got your stuff unpacked, I hope. It's all in your closet. Get to put it there for a little bit.
No, still in the suitcase.
Why?
My wife will probably tell me about a week to get it in the washing machine and stuff like that. So.
It was a weekend for you down in Arizona. Played NAU last Thursday. Played GCU yesterday on Sunday. Against NAU, the offense started clicking a little bit, found the back of the net. How good does it kind of feel to get some goals into the back of the net, get that offense clicking just a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we obviously have not gotten rolling on this season. We've created opportunities, not enough of them, in terms of getting players higher up the field. So we felt that we've relied solely just on the front line in terms of getting balls into the areas we want to get into. So certainly something we're continuing to talk about and continue to train and things like that.
And what is the key when you are able to find the back of the net? What sort of changes where it's today we were successful on offense because why?
And there's multiple things. I mean, I think if your wide players are getting up higher above the ball, being able to hold the ball up higher through the central players, midfielders underneath supporting the ball, then I spoke about this multiple times, but maintaining possession in the higher parts of the field so you can get your numbers up. So most attacks don't come to any fruition, but then you want to be able to put your players in a position where you can get the ball back as quick as possible and then attack again. So it's trying to put those things in place and then understanding where you need to serve final balls from, whether it's out wide, whether it's a little bit deeper, whether it's a shot from distance. So trying to put your team into those areas so you can be successful.
Yesterday against GCU, a lower scoring game, one that was 1-0 at the end of it. Matty Goldberg in goal had 5 really nice saves. All of them were a little bit difficult in that game against GCU. What did you see defensively from your team in that game and from her back in goal?
I thought the first 15 minutes we were really good. I thought the shape was really good. I thought we caused a lot of turnovers higher up the field, in their half of the field, and look really good, to be quite honest with you. Disappointed that we conceded, obviously, in the first half, and then had to chase the game after that. But again, I had opportunities to come out of it and get something out of the game. And but no, I thought defensively we created enough. We just tired in the game, and so something we need to talk about kind of as a staff in terms of how we can better prepare the student athletes to ensure that we're not tiring as quick.
Not easy places to play. Up at NAU, up at Elevation, GCU, in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona. It's hot this time of year. How do you feel like your team battled through some of difficult playing environments?
Yeah, I mean, I think we tried to prepare them as best possible with regards to hydration and things like that, and made sure rotations, tried to rotate through things. I thought yesterday we lost our legs after about 20-25 minutes, and that showed. We were able to get quicker rotations, obviously allowed an additional substitution, player to come into the game through our sub rotations in the second half. So we were able to do that in the second half. That kind of kept us ticking over. But the problem with doing that is you're breaking up the rhythm of the game as you go as well. So it's not something we ideally want to do, but it kept us ticking over and kept us in the game.
When you're at this point in the season, you've played now 3 weeks into the year. The team's sort of identity is starting to shape. You sort of are starting to feel out what your team is in a sense. What do you feel like you've learned from this team from the start of the season until now, and how would you sort of define that team identity to this point?
I think the good moments are very, very good. I mean, I think there's still some pieces that it's not an excuse, but it's just the youth of the group. You know what I mean? And I don't feel as though a game we're getting broken down. It's individual mistakes, or there's mistakes where it's it might be something that we have a solution for. But we don't quite get out there to deal with it, and then it ends up ball being in the back of the net. And so it feels as though as we fix one thing, we're then fixing another thing, and we're fixing another thing. But it's not from a lack of effort from the student athletes. They're putting in the work. I think from a identity standpoint, I mean, I think we've got pace up in the wide areas, and we've been able to see that. Both Nay and Ryan do a really good job playing as a 9. We've, I think our midfielders, when we get on the ball and when we're able to keep possession, we do a really good job of that piece, and we've been able to press higher up the field at times. So it's continued to evolve with that piece. And do it more and more often, and so I think we're at that point in the season now where we probably need to take a little bit of a break in terms of lowering some of the training pieces. I mean, I think we've been I think at one point we're starting 6-7 freshmen, which is great for the future, but we also don't want to be looking at something for the future. We want to be a product right now. So to continue to work through that, and then best prepare our student athletes.
And you talk about the future, but there is some production coming right now from those freshmen. Ryan Reynolds got her first goal. Yep. There was an assist by Lauren Kenny, who was a freshman. So a few different key players that are young, that are getting opportunities to contribute, that are contributing early. Yeah,
listen, they've come in and they've slotted right into what we do, and they've done an awesome job with it. And we've got our sophomore class doing an excellent job in terms of helping them along as well, helping the freshmen along, just because they've been there and done it as well. And and then in the junior/senior class, you've got Anna Phillips. It's been a while. Has been here a while. Alicia, even Maddie Goldberg is now getting kind of her first contribution in terms of minutes. Callan's been here for, it seems, such a long time, and she's now getting regular minutes as well. Now she stayed injury free. So helping all those younger ones along.
And how has it been with the group of the veterans, the leaders, with these young group of players, and they're playing on the field at the same time? How have you seen those experienced group of players sort of step up as that role of a leader to be teachers and coaches on the pitch?
Yeah, it's helping them with the different things, and we've seen this, we've been there. Relax, we're good. And so, it's continually helping them. It's continually our upperclassmen helping our younger players evolve.
Transitioning into this week, it's the first time at home since the opening game of the season. It's going to be 21 days between home matches for you. What is it about this Pape Field crowd? What is it going to be being back in front of them, and how do they help out the performance on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to be at home. We love playing in front of our own community. We have an unbelievable facility that we get to play in, and we get to practice in every day. So it's just nice to be at home in our own beds. I didn't realize it'd been 21 days since we've been at home. So it's just nice to be home and be at our facility.
How does your process change, home versus road, the travel piece of it all? How are things different when it's a home weekend versus a road weekend?
We try not to change it too much. I think when we first got here, we had struggled on the road traditionally as a program, so we tried to normalize kind of home and away in terms of our rhythm, and so we'll continue to try to do that and kind of keep it as similar as possible, just so our kids are into a rhythm and they understand that rhythm. Even the practice schedules, whenever we play on the road, we always try to practice on a Wednesday here in Eugene, just because we can guarantee our own environment in terms of surface and things like that. So we'll try to keep that regular rhythm, and hopefully we can get 2 good performances this weekend.
Playing against Cal Baptist this weekend, as well as Denver. Those two teams that have started the season strong. They're once again, throughout this schedule, you've scheduled teams that are competitive in their league. What are the unique challenges that a team like Cal Baptist and a team like Denver provide?
I think they'll both be, like you said, they're both traditionally good programs. They'll both be athletic. I think Denver had a coaching change over the summer, so they'll maybe be a little different what they've been in the past. And so, again, I feel as though, we, like I said earlier, we've got those moments within games where we look really good, and so we've got to keep multiplying those moments, because we know there's a complete performance in there. And I think once we're able to put that performance, out there, then that'll give our kids just an extra shot of confidence.
Are there any steps that you sort of want to see to achieve that growth? What are the keys for your team on the pitch this weekend?
I think it's just a sustained performance for the 90 minutes. It can't be the first 15 minutes here and then the next, we have to wait until the second half for that to happen. And so it's our responsibility as a staff to set our kids up for that success, whether it's how we're preparing them, in the days up to the game, how we're preparing, the food prior, the hydration pieces, anything that we can do to set our kids up for that success.
this weekend, 2 games, 2 opponents. Is there anything that we missed? Is there anything else that fans should know before they show up to Pape on Thursday?
No, just come out and support our kids. You know what I mean? Like I said, keep talking about we've got such a talented group, and they're close to making that breakthrough.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Always
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thursday, 7 p.m., Oregon Soccer against Cal Baptist. Sunday at 1 o'clock against Denver. That's Oregon Soccer head coach Graham Abel. We're going to take a timeout, and we'll be back breaking down some more of the 81-7 win for the football team this weekend. We come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Just heard from Oregon Soccer head coach Graham Abel, but we are going to continue to break down Week 1 of the Oregon football season's 81-7 victory over Portland State. Yeah, that's 7. That's a number 2. It's only 1 touchdown allowed for the defense. And Steve Stevens, an experienced member of this defensive backfield, had a few plays on Saturday. He spoke with the media post-game. Let's hear from number 7.
Steve, you played a lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of games in general, but FCS games. When you guys play this way, what do you take away from this as a player? When you have a dominant performance against a team who you know you guys are smart.
I just look at it as how we play to our standard. Just, how we do meet our goals, or do we achieve the standards that we set for our team at that point, and then just how do we perform, execute within our scheme. That's pretty much what we look at.
How do you feel like you did that?
We played pretty well. A couple of things we definitely need to correct, but overall I think we played pretty well.
We played a lot of different guys and shuffling guys in and out, and by the end, obviously a lot of young guys. I assume that makes it challenging when it's a lot of new faces. Mm-hmm. How did you guys feel in terms of being on the same page, play to play, and particularly as some of the young guys start to come in too?
I feel like that's a tip the hat off to the coaches. That's good coaching. Where you're able to get a lot of guys in that know what they're doing and able to execute and uphold the standard that we set as a team. So I feel like that's just good coaching.
Did you practice and prepare this past week for as much rotation among the deep safeties as there was today? I mean, as far as Evan obviously didn't get out there.
Yeah.
So you played with BA a ton, but whether it was Sheem, whether it was Brian, whether it was one of the freshmen, you guys practicing that many rotations, or was this just
Yeah, we just honestly, it's more so just know what you're doing, whether you're a 1 or a 2. If you're on the field, you're a starter. So it's just understand what you're doing at any moment and point in time, because you never know when it's going to be your opportunity to get in the game. So just taking advantage of your reps, count the reps, make the reps count, don't count the reps.
Now that you guys can look ahead to next week and that opportunity, as one of the few guys who was around and played with Tyler, defended against Tyler a lot in practice. What are your thoughts about playing him now in a game that matters?
It's exciting, an opportunity to play against my brother. I still have a great relationship with him. It's just I'm excited for the opportunity. Are
there things that you remember from practice? I mean, I realize now it's like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But are there things you remember from practice about tendencies that he had, or are there just things you're going to have to pick up on more from film than memory at this point?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I go that far back in time, but I just know he's a really intelligent player, very instinctive. So.
You gave up the early touchdown there. Obviously, a lot of running. What was kind of talked about or just corrected to kind of shut him down after that?
Just guys doing their job. We coach, doing your job is enough, and make sure you just do your job. And a couple of those plays leading up to that touchdown, some of the guys didn't do their job to execute at a high level. So.
And then, with the guys rotating, is that kind of a challenge, or is just that something you were kind of prepared for, looking at different guys at inside linebacker, at corner, at safety, play by play?
Like I said before, I think it's just good coaching. We got a lot of guys that are able to get in. They know what they're doing. They know how to execute at a high level. So we're able to rotate guys, and we got a lot of good depth that can play. So, like I said, if you have guys that are able to get in, know what they're doing, you have no problem, rotating, because there's no drop off.
Right. So it's almost indicative of just how good the competition then has been, just the fact that you can play so many guys and feel like there isn't that drop off.
For sure.
Obviously you talked a little bit about Tyler, but what's different about next week? Obviously they like to pass the ball a lot. So what's kind of the challenge with playing Texas Tech versus this week?
The difference is it's an away game, so we got to go to somebody else's house, and that's not always the most comfortable situation. So we got to make sure we find a way to be comfortable being uncomfortable and embrace that. So that's pretty much the big difference, personally.
Steve, sorry if you've been asked this before, but just what did you see from the newcomers, like the true freshmen? I think you guys played 21 or 22 of them. What did you see from them in the fall, and what did you see from them today?
Those guys will have a legit attention detail, a major focus, and honing on what they got to do and what they got to execute on. From practices, camp up to this point, they've been executing at a high level, and we got a lot of young guys able to play because they know what they're doing. They're not going to get in the game and mess up and not get misaligned, not communicate well. They're going to get in, they're going to execute at a high level. So like I said, it's good coaching, and it's a lot of our players and the older guys, setting that standard, and the young guys following behind.
A lot of times during the fall, a lot of defensive players mentioned that year 2 in Tosh's defense, when things were clicking, you guys are playing faster. One touchdown today for Portland State, but after that, lights out. Is that how you expect the defense to kind of perform this season?
I wish we didn't give up that 7 points. I wish we would have had a donut for them, but like I said, it's just, that's our standard. We don't want to give up no scores, no explosive plays, so high standards for the defense overall.
I know you probably have had this question already, but it wasn't just setting the scoring record, but it was setting the margin of victory record as well, which, plays into your hands, right? What are your thoughts on just the performance you guys had as a whole and being able to set that record?
So we just try to just dominate performance, face with nameless opponents. It's always Oregon versus Oregon, and we have standards, and if 80 points doesn't mean the standard, then so be it. So we're just trying to just make sure we meet our standards every way, shape, or form.
Hasheem's a guy who, his play really jumps off the screen. What do you think he brings to this defense that it might have been missing last year? Was there anything that stood out to you today?
Great communicator. He plays fast, really aggressive, great around the football, a lot of production. You just, like you say, you see him make plays, and you want to make plays too. So I think he's really, his play style is very contagious, I would say.
I think Steve Stevens said it best. Playing to the standard. 81-7. Nice standard when you can accomplish that in week 1, carry that momentum into next week against Texas Tech. We're going to take our final timeout, and when we come back, there were a lot of Oregon athletics going on this weekend. We'll touch on them all when we come back from the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union, people are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Back on Duck Insider here in the Country Financial Studio. It's time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Oregon Cross Country got their season started this weekend in the Linfield Harrier Classic. Katie Clute and Elliott Cook both took home individual titles in the women's 4K and men's 6K, respectively. Nice start to the season for the Oregon Cross Country team. They will return home in 3 weeks to host the Bill Dellinger Invitational for their season. Also, volleyball, 3 wins over the weekend at the San Diego State Invitational. Beat San Diego State 3-1. Met with a little bit of adversity, bounced back, took home set 4 25-10, then swept UC Santa Barbara and Pepperdine. Women's soccer lost 1-0 to GCU. And of course, Oregon football with the 81-7 victory over Portland State. Big weekend in Oregon athletics. Everything's going. It's here. See everyone.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober